AM 590 WEZE Boston.
Was going to expose. Race is not where the line is drawn. It's God's side and the other side. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is.
Ay, everybody get exposed. Pray for all my foes, but it's the nail roll. These rappers gonna sell their soul. I don't care if they hate me. This the life I chose. Jay-Z mocking Christ with his new movie. One day he gonna pay.
And this might help. Yes, everybody, I'm here. It is October 12th, 2024. And that was Cat Williams saying race is not where the dividing line is. You're either on God's side or the other side. Seems like a lot of people have a hard time understanding that. They still think the anything goes can go. And it's not true. So let us get started here. Kevin has bumped us in with the great music of Tyson. Oh, gosh, I'm going to forget the guy's name and I talked to him. Bryson Gray. I'm going to forget his name. And, with Cat Williams being the lead off on that. Now we're going to lead off with prayer. And hopefully I can do a little bit better than I've done so far. So let's see if we can work some magic. Okay, Father, just help us. Help us to be courageous. Help us to be steadfast. Help us to persevere in the light of all the trials and tribulations that we're going to face. I mean, there's going to be personal things. There are going to be personal things that happen in our lives, and it's going to happen to everybody, every man, no matter what race you think you are. 90% of what you go through, it's going to be what men go through. Might even drop it down to 80, but still it's a whole lot. All men are basically going to go through the same things in life. You may not think so, but you will. And females, the same for you. So we need prayer and to get over our personal situations in which we struggle with being men or women. And then we have social situations in which we deal with, in which we are supposed to fit into social situations. So I just want to remind everybody, you don't need to fit in. You have God. And when you have God, when you have Jesus Christ in your life, he will be your best friend, and he will be your mentor. He will be your comforter. He will be your supporter. So with those things being said, may Jesus bless us in everything that we endeavor to do and go forward in life. Amen. All right, I'm ready to go. And we didn't try this out beforehand, today in history. But we're going to give it a shot to see if it works here. All right. Let's go.
Today in history.
Magic. It's magic, everybody. It's magic how that happens. Today in history, on October 12th, 1927, New York Yankees first baseman Lou Gehrig is named the American League MVP, despite Babe Ruth hitting a major league record of 60 home runs. You may wonder why Babe didn't get that, right? Well, he wasn't eligible. You're probably wondering, what did he do? He didn't do anything. Well, actually, he did. He won the American League MVP award in 1923. And because he did, according to the format at the time, he could not win it again. He was cheated. And I think Babe should have launched a protest. There should have been protests in the streets, walking up and down every street in America so that he can get his MVP. But it didn't happen. Lou Gehrig got the MVP. And then the format was changed in 1931 so that Lou Gehrig could win it again in 1934. It's either 33 or 34, he won it again. So Babe was cheated, and Lou Gehrig benefited from it. And that was on October 12th, 1927. Yeah, moving right along. In 1967, and every Boston fan knows this, the Red Sox won the World Series against the St. Louis Cardinals. And if it wasn't for Bob Gibson, they could have won. In 1967, in the World Series, there were 3 consecutive home runs. It's a World Series record, of course, set by Boston. And and they were hit by Carl Yastrzemski. Should have a picture of them somewhere. There we go, Carl. And then it was another one hit by Reggie Smith. Yes, old Reggie was there. Good-looking guy. Yeah, there he is. Bam. When he was the Red Sox. And then we have Rico Petrocelli. He hit the third home run. So Carl Yastrzemski, Reggie Smith, Rico Petrocelli, a World Series record held by the Red Sox, the Boston Red Sox. There we go. All right. I do have a question with that one, though. They didn't win the World Series that year. No, they didn't. The Red Sox, they lost in the 7th game. That was done in the 6th game, and they won that game 8-4 at Fenway. And they would lose the 7th game, and that was that. But what team did Reggie Smith, who was the only guy out of those three to be on a winning World Series team, what team did he win with? I'm going to leave that out there so that if anybody's listening, they can call in and answer that. What team did Reggie Smith win a World Series title with? Now, on October 12th, 1991, Chip Beck ties the PGA record for the lowest 18-hole score with a 59. And he did it during the 3rd round of the Las Vegas Invitational at the Sunrise Golf Club. There he goes, Chip, Mr. 59. Chip 59 Beck. What a shot. That's pretty nice. He's going to give you lessons on life from the tour in the 80s and 90s. And I'm sure he did because everyone thinks it's such a great thing to be on tour. It is a rough situation unless things are going your way. My hats are off to all those guys who put the time in and the energy, to compete. But he didn't win that tournament. I'm going to let you guys call in and tell me who won the 1991 Las Vegas Invitational at the Sunrise Club. And moving on, in 2020, Mercedes driver Lewis Hamilton wins the Eiffel Grand Prix at Germany's Nuremberg. Yeah, not the Eiffel Grand Prix at the Eiffel Tower in France, but the Eiffel Grand Prix in Nuremberg to equal Michael Schumacher's record of 91 Formula. Well, that guy looks jacked, doesn't he? Unbelievable. 91 Formula One victories. My question is, to all of you out there, and I know who's going to get this right, how many victories does Lewis Hamilton have now? Okay, he tied the record of 91 back in 2020. It's 4 years later. How many does he have now? Bang, there you go. It's all there. That is today in history. Let me see if we still got it. He's turned down the volume, but that's our today in history, ladies and gentlemen. That's the end of it. It was the end of it right there. Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, I should have a picture of Drake May, but I have a picture of Jacoby Brissett. The Jacoby Brissett era is over in New England. Done. Gone. An announcement was made, I think, on Tuesday of this week that they are now going to start Drake May as the quarterback of the New England Patriots. And what did Jacoby Brissett do wrong here in New England? I had a very close friend of mine told me he was just in the wrong place at the right time. Okay. Yeah, there he goes. He's giving Drake May advice. I don't know how well that's going to work. Well, anyway, we wish the best for Drake May, and let's move along. I'm going to tell you what Jacoby Brissett did wrong, as far as I could. What he did wrong. He was slow to read. His progression of reading his receivers, going through the progression, was pretty darn slow. Okay. And then when he did lock onto a receiver, he locked onto him. He would not take his eyes off him. He only had one interception, and that's a wonder how that happened, because he would lock onto a receiver from the time that, he wanted to throw him the ball, basically just steering the defense to them. And, I mean, that's good enough. He was slow to release the ball. He had a slow release. Now, what did he do right? He showed up to play week after week despite being creamed and only had one interception. I'm interested in hearing what you guys might want to think of this. I'm going to give you the number 844-249-5247. 844-249-5247. What do you think Jacoby Brissett did right? I bet we can count that on 5 fingers. Let's take a look at his numbers. Jacoby Brissett in 5 games this year was sacked 17 times. He had 135 attempts, completing 79 times for a 58.5 percentage. We can call it 59. He had 696 total yards passing, an average of 5.2. Average 139 points. Yards per game. He had 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. In terms of passing, Jacoby Brissett was ranked 27th out of 32 quarterbacks. He was the 27th. I don't know how that is. I'm sure he was the worst. But he had the lowest passing yards for any quarterback who started 5 games. That much we can say. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Jacoby Brissett was not very good. He stunk up the joint. And before I go into how bad he stunk up the joint, we're going to let Wayne answer one of these questions. I'm sure he might have one of them right. And I have a feeling it's going to be the F1. Wayne, what do we got, brother?
105.
Gosh, you knew that off the bat? You've been keeping count?
105, and he has the most podium as well. Every week he's been setting another record every time he gets out there. Incredible.
I wish you could see our screen here because I went up and, as I did some research on Lewis Hamilton, he is jacked. What is this guy? Is he a weightlifter? I mean, they have one picture of him in a muscle shirt. This guy looks like he's been pumping iron.
But the incredible thing about those cars, if you're over 6 feet, it's very hard to get into the cockpit of those cars. I was in Monza one time at the Ferrari Museum where they had one of those F1 cars, and I tried to get into the cockpit and I couldn't get in there. Those guys they may be jacked, but they're short guys.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. So he's a short guy. Short guy who's jacked.
I'm looking for an up-tempo pace game this Sunday, and I think once Drake gets baptized with a hit, I think he'll settle down, and we may even win this game on Sunday.
Wait a minute, who are they playing again? Let me see. You're making these bold predictions that they might win. Let me check this opponent again.
Well, look, except for maybe the 49ers and the Jets game, we were all in all of the other games. With a more faster paced played game, we might have stole one of those wins.
Yeah,
so,
they're playing Houston,
yes,
Texans,
they are.
with C.J. Stroud,
yes, they are.
Joe Mixon, Tank Dell. Yeah.
Well, I'd rather this competition for him than the Miami because you're only going to get better by playing better competition. So I had a lot of faith in the young man.
Anybody could have beat Miami. They were there for the taking.
And then what happened? We got an L. So I think with a more faster paced game, I'll take my chances with it.
Wayne, they deserved the L against Miami. That's how bad they were. I don't know how long you were able to watch the game, but the consensus has been that it was turned off after the first half. And only people with very ironclad stomachs could watch the second half because the first half was bad enough. It was wretched.
Well, I think the apple picking people are going to lose some business come this Sunday because we're all going to stay home and watch this game. But if it was going to be Jacoby again, I couldn't watch that again for sure. I could not.
What do you think Jacoby did wrong? I mean, what do you think? Because here's what I want to find out. Here's what I want to find out.
The pace of his play. He was not. That's maybe one thing. Holding onto the ball, taking too many unadvised sacks late in the game. So I think Dre may be a little bit faster, be able to sling the ball down the field. And let's see, maybe we have some weapons on that offensive team with the wide receivers.
Wait. Can I interject here? You want him to speed up?
Yes, sir.
If he sped up, he was just going to go 3 and out faster. I mean, is that what you want? You want I mean, the defense was already, I think, on the field 40 minutes out of the 60 minutes they played in that game with Miami. If he had to sped it up, it would have been worse than that.
Well, maybe with Dre, with the defense get to rest a little bit because the offense can stay out there a little bit longer, and hopefully we're not kicking field goals, but we're putting up sixes and extra points. So I think we need to extend the offense. Need to extend the game for the defense.
Yeah, well, everyone knows that, but they have a situation with the offensive line. What do you think?
Well, maybe this young quarterback, we may see a different outcome. We may see a more faster paced played game. I like our chances tomorrow.
Okay, so we're keeping hope alive, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Keeping hope alive.
Yes.
Let freedom flow and hope grow. Okay. Well, thank you very much. And you're right. It is 105. Yeah, he has 105 victories. I had to look that up, but I guess you didn't. And that's the credit you keep up with these things, and that's a good thing. That's why we depend on you to give us an F1 report most of the time. But I guess these guys haven't been racing in a while. They just take a holiday over there in Europe and just drink and eat and do whatever they want. Nice life.
So the next race will be here in Texas. So we have a couple. We have a couple on the American side, Texas, and I believe we also have one in the Indianapolis as well too. So it should be interesting. The championship has not been decided as yet. Red Bulls are in trouble right now. You have the two McLarens coming up, and it's with Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. So it's still anyone's championship to win. And Lewis may even have a dark hope of a chance with, if Red Bull doesn't get any podium finishes and they get in some low points, it's wide open still.
Well, Lewis has been there for about 20 years now, right?
Yep, and he's making a move to Ferrari in the 2025 calendar season. So, oh man, it's going to be great. Should be a great competition next year.
Well, we will see. All right, we'll see what's going to happen in Houston also. Thank you for the call. Thank you for the answer. And by the end of this session here, I will give the rest of the answers. If nobody else comes up with them, I have a feeling it might be too hard.
I almost want to think Reggie Smith might have won with the Oakland A's.
Close, but no cigar. And you only get one chance. You're only going to get one chance.
Okay.
Same state.
Have a great day, guys.
Take care, Wayne.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive for the Patriots.
I got to say, I want some of Wayne's positivity. I mean, it's the optimism. It's a good thing here on a Saturday morning.
Yeah, he's not going to go apple picking.
I'm with him on that.
He's foregoing the apple picking to stay home and watch the Patriots.
I'm with them on that.
to play Houston. I expect a blowout. I think it's going to be a blowout. And I'll explain why. I think it's all going to move very fast. It's all great when you come in there and you're backing up and nobody expects anything out of you. But when you're the starter and the pressure's on you, I don't know if he's going to stand up to it. We will see. Listen, let's just hope for the best. Let me just finish off what I'm thinking. Brissett was 27th. He had the lowest passing yards of any quarterback who started 5 games. But in his defense, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to throw the offensive line under the bus. Let's face it. I mean, yeah, he was bad, but this is a problem that has been on board that they knew about since preseason, and they've only recently begun to address it, and very slowly. David Andrews is out. One guy quit. Some other guys are out. And what I can tell from doing research on this is that they signed a Ben Brown and a Sincere Haynesworth. This is it. This is all they've signed in the past 3 or 4 weeks. Guys, the offensive line was graded the 30th worst out of 32 teams in the NFL. That's not Jacoby Brissett's fault. No, it's not. It's not Jacoby Brissett's fault that they're rated 30th out of 32. And I don't think they're going to be rated much better than that with Drake May back there. The guy is in danger. I don't agree with this move. I don't agree with this move, and this is why they should have kept our guy Bailey Zappi, because eventually this was going to happen. Well, actually, no. I thought Jacoby Brissett was going to be injured by now, and he would be out, and then they would have to play Drake May or Bailey Zappi.
He got beat up enough.
He got beat up enough to be out, and I thought he would be out by now. But he's a big, strong, tough guy. Always has been. Plays through pain, and he's lucky to be standing upright at the end of it. But Jacoby, if I was you, I would not feel bad. I would not feel totally upset that they're taking the job away from you, because you got beat up enough. Just look at this as kind of a blessing in disguise. You get to take a couple of weeks off and heal your body. And I have a feeling in 4 to 5 games, Drake May might be the guy getting replaced by you, by maybe a not so bad injury, but something that's going to keep him out, and you're going to be thrust back in there, which I don't know if you really want to do. I mean, you might be happier not taking the beating that's going to happen to anybody who's back there in that pocket. Well, that's the way I think about it. What, you have any thoughts on this, Kevin? You think it's time? You've told me you think it's time.
I think it's time. I always prioritize the veteran quarterback over the younger rookie, but I think after watching particularly last week's game, you want to talk about, we talked a lot about the comments that were made by a local podcaster about the word mutiny in the locker room. I think you'd have a mutiny amongst the fan base if the decision to start Drake May did not occur for this game. I think it had to be done. I'm not going to fault Jacoby Brissett too much. I agree with you completely, Clay. The offensive line of the Patriots
offensive
has true. Putrid is the word I would use, but also offensive would be a good word to describe it as well. This is not a team that is going to compete for a playoff spot.
No.
I know we joked here just a couple of weeks ago after the Patriots,
after the first game of the
first
season.
win against
the
Cincinnati Bengals, who are continuing to struggle, and we'll get to that later when we pick the games. But I think it was a necessary move. I really do. And I'm excited to see what Drake May is going to be able to do. And we'll see. I mean, everybody thought Mac Jones was going to be the future. Everybody thought this and that. It's really hit or miss. You know, you could have a CJ Stroud come in, or you could have a Mac Jones or a whoever. But I agree with you as well. I don't think we've seen the last of Jacoby Brissett.
Right.
I mean,
don't think so.
I mean, Clay, look at just throughout the league, some of these quarterbacks that are in right now, the backups that are doing
those guys are fantastic. Joe Flacco,
Sam Darnold, all these journeyman guys that are rewriting their careers because they've sat on the bench for a number of years. Not to say that Jacoby Brissett was drafted or signed to be the savior of the New England Patriots, but we're in trouble. There's no doubt about it. But the future, and the optimist in me says the future is bright given the...
You and Wayne are
well, just a little bit of
pod now.
Just a little bit. I'm excited to see what Drake May has to offer. I will say I'm not going to go as far to say that the Patriots are going to win that game. I don't think it's going to be particularly close.
What joy juice is he drinking?
But also, too, another thing we didn't touch on as well, and this was an issue during the end of the Brady era. The offensive line is a problem, but also the weapons that are surrounded the quarterbacks are a problem as well. I'm talking about the wide receivers and the folks that the Patriots have not prioritized. And they haven't developed them properly, in my opinion.
No, they haven't.
And it's been a problem. It's been a real problem.
One of the better guys that they had, Jacoby Myers, who's homegrown, came up through the system, proved himself. They told him they'd rather have Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah, that was
and then Juju crapped the bed
the
whole season.
We won't talk about that game a couple years ago in Vegas with Jacoby Myers. You remember that?
Yeah.
When he threw the ball and Chandler Jones intercepted it?
Well,
we won't talk about that. But anyway, you're right, though. You're right. But this team has had, let's face it, glaring needs for 4 or 5 years now, ever since Tom Brady left. It's amazing to me that the team has not, in my opinion, I mean, you could say they have on paper when they drafted Mac Jones, they believed at the time that Mac Jones was the future of New England Patriots.
Belichick didn't believe
Bill
that.
Belichick didn't, but
he sabotaged him.
Bill Belichick would rather have Cam Newton out there.
Oh yeah,
And how'd that work out? I mean, listen, we had one good year with Mac Jones, went to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And there was some promise there. There's no doubt there was some promise. But
let me.
Sure, go ahead.
They already had this guy Cam Newton. Okay, he was a bum. I mean, by the time that we
got him,
okay, he couldn't throw 20 yards. His arm was shot. He was done. He was throwing dirt balls.
Different quarterback.
Now here's the deal. They had Cam Newton there. They weren't paying him anything. Okay, they could have used Cam Newton for the first 6, 7, 8 games and not thrown Mac Jones out there. But no, Bill Belichick was so heck bent on sabotaging Mac Jones' career. He threw him out there right from the beginning. And so it began. And so that's my concern about this thing with Drake May, throwing him out there. I'm very concerned that he's going to go into survival mode. And it might look good for a while, but it's going to come back to bite him in the butt.
Well, maybe when the Jaguars fired Doug Peterson, Bill Belichick can go reunite with Mac down in Jacksonville.
No,
and help Trevor Lawrence out too.
I guarantee you, the first thing he's going to do is launch Mac Jones if he takes that job.
And our luck, Mac Jones, like the backup quarterback that he'll be, will go save a team.
Yeah,
you know?
He will. No, he has the stuff upstairs. He doesn't have the greatest arm, but he has the stuff upstairs.
But anyway, just I won't belabor the point, but we're in trouble. There's no doubt about it. But I am eager to see, as we all are, I think.
I'm not.
What except for Clay. Clay is the outlier.
I'm
here.
right. I'm being right on board with saying no.
Clay is not looking forward to seeing
Drake May,
the highest ranked, highest drafted quarterback the Patriots have ever drafted. But
wait, Drew Bledsoe.
Oh, after Bledsoe.
Yeah,
after Bledsoe.
Yeah, being old gets you places as far as knowledge goes, as long as you still can remember.
Yeah. So we'll see. Well, we'll talk about that next week. But I don't think it's going to be particularly close. The Houston Texans, in my opinion, are going to be one of the favorites to come out of the AFC, so long as they continue to play the way they're playing.
I think they're going to stomp a mud hole in the Patriots. I think it's just going to be batting practice if they were baseball.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. But I don't think your pal Bailey Zappi is going to be running out of the tunnel anytime soon, unfortunately, Clay. You're going to have to let that go.
He's with Kansas City.
Yeah.
A real team. A real organization.
Well, yeah, for now.
This is a hater. Another hater.
Yeah. I'm not a hater. I don't hate Bailey Zappi.
No, I'm talking about the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, yeah, I do hate the Kansas City Chiefs.
Here we go.
Yeah.
I like honesty. Okay, we have to move along from this, okay? Let's move on. Move on here. Enough about talking about the Patriots. Okay. I just want to say this. I feel sorry for Drake May. I think it's going to be painful. And before we move off the Patriots, we have a guy who might want to talk about the Patriots, or maybe not. We'll find out, and then we'll find out where we're going to go after this. Kelly, welcome to the show. What do we have?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Kelly.
Oh, my God. Where
do you start?
Where do I start? Man, we talked about this last week if they had lost. Man, I mean, but 100%, I agree with Kevin. Spot on. The Titanic is sinking. So you got to use all the lifeboats.
We're pulling the lifeboats out?
All the lifeboats. Oh, yes.
Is it women and children first still?
They don't care, women and children, the first class. Remember that movie, like the people, those lower class people, everyone's going. You got to empty this boat.
We got to empty the boat. You got to fight. We got to fight to see who's going to get on these lifeboats here. There's a fight.
Yeah. But the problem with Jacoby per se, it's a terrible system. I mean, Jacoby just couldn't make himself a serviceable quarterback, just like he just needed to be, like he was in Indianapolis. That's what they were looking for.
I think they had a better line in Indianapolis. Correct me if I'm wrong. Right. He didn't have a sieve like he has here.
Right. I mean, and that's what they look at. I mean, you got to take care. You got to take care of the basics. You just can't just call these guys in and say, all right, well, we're good. We have this guy. Put him in till our main guy is ready.
You gave him the worst offensive line in football. That's before they got hurt. This before any of these chums got hurt. He had the worst offensive line, and I don't see how Drake May being in there is going to change the offensive line.
No,
I hate to inform New England Patriots fans of this, but Drake May is not going to block, throw, and catch the ball.
Yeah, that offensive line is very offensive.
It's offensive. to everybody involved and oh gosh, but okay. Do you think they have a chance of beating Houston this week?
No. No. Are you kidding me? What? I mean, Wayne, my God, Wayne, come on, man. I hope he's still listening.
He is. He's
Call
listening.
back and redeem yourself. Goodness.
He says it could possibly happen.
Yeah, anything's possible. That's why they play the game every given Sunday.
Yeah.
We
all know that.
They come out there and compete. I'll be good with that. They get blown out. I mean, it can't go. And anything that happens, they get blown out. That's what we expected. If they compete, they look pretty good, very promising. So I mean, they're at a relaxed situation now. Go for it on 4th and 9. They're nothing to lose out there. They're gonna play this game like it's the last game of the season. They put everything on the table now, just to keep the fan base interested.
These guys have already bought tickets. They're gonna tune in no matter what. I wouldn't care what these fans say because I'm not going to let them ruin the future of my quarterback by what they say. What do these guys? They're not going anywhere. If I was to Kraft, I'd stick by my guns. I don't know who I'd throw in there right now. It wouldn't be Jacoby Brissett. It wouldn't be Milton. It wouldn't be May. Like I said, I don't know. I'd find some journeyman who came in and it could do something. But
exactly,
I wouldn't put May in there.
They're out there.
No,
they're out there. Yep, they're out there.
They're out there. And they didn't do any due diligence when it came to that. It's that lack of awareness. And be honest with you, Kelly, what pegs me more, what gets me more upset is the lack of awareness of the front office. It isn't Jacoby Brissett. It's not Drake May. It's not even the offensive line. It's the lack of awareness in the front office that they have now. They're completely inept.
Yeah, stop thinking like this uniform, this Patriots going to go out there, the logo is going to win games because it's the Patriots, But to make your blood boil even more, to step a bit off the Patriots out there. Listening to sports talk this week, I listened to one podcast and put like a very disturbing idea in my head.
What was that?
We're weeks away from LeBron season. So, and he had mentioned something, the possibility of this man getting 3 statues outside of 3 arenas.
Yeah.
That'd be Cleveland, Miami, and LA would be an embarrassment.
And was his name James? Is this podcaster, sportscaster?
And that was guy Gilbert Arenas.
Oh my gosh, he's another. He's a pawn. He's a pawn. He's a suck up. There's nothing LeBron can't do right. I mean, wrong as far as Gilbert Arenas. He's the worst guy on there. And if his podcast was not being supported by Clutch Sports, it would be off the air already. That's how bad it is. They pump up on.
It's funny how you said it. But it's funny how I found about the news was from James. I spoke to James about it. He was dancing and he's in his moment about that.
He doesn't even know that podcast is just propped up by Clutch Sports. It's the propaganda outlet, one of the propaganda outlets with the money that they get. They just prop up these people and pay them to say these crazy, insane things about this bum, but LeBron.
I can see that bum organization of Los Angeles is doing it just because,
Are they going to erect? I got to ask you a question. Are they going to erect a statue of LeBron outside of P. Diddy's, house? Because he went to a couple of those freak off parties.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Clutch Sports is awful quiet about that. They'll talk about all the rest of these statues, but as far as those parties that he went to, and he's a married man, let's not forget that.
Yeah.
This is the reason why I don't like bringing LeBron up, because as soon as you start opening up it starts getting wormier and wormier and wormier. As soon as you open up the can, you can just open up a can of worms with him, and it just gets wormier, and it just descends down into muck you don't even want to go into, because that's where he lives.
Well, this is only the beginning. I'm telling you, we're in preseason. This is the beginning. It's the start. So brace yourself.
Clutch Sports they're gonna put the peanut butter and jelly on, huh? Just gonna wax it on. Well, okay, we're ready for it. Yeah. We're ready for it. LeBron, is not going to make the playoffs this year. And if James wants to call in and dispute this with me, I would be happy to go toe-to-toe with him right now before the preseason starts.
Good to hear. Good to hear. I'm sure he's listening.
Yeah, him and
Yeah,
neither Bronny or LeBron is making the playoffs this year.
But they don't care.
No, they don't care. The only people who care are people like James. The people that think that these guys really do care about, well, the people, as they say. And we know what we're talking about. They say they care about the people. They're one of the people. They're so far away from you people. They don't even know what you smell like.
But again, all right, we'll resume next week.
Next week. And I will resume my monologue that I had going here. The next on the block is going to be the Bruins. And I will talk to you next week. Have a good one, Kelly.
All right, fine. Yep, bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, less than 20 minutes to go. I'm going to have to hurry through the Boston Bruins because we have some work to do here. The Boston Bruins, with an average weight, let's just get this out the way. They're 1-1. They've only played 2 games, and they're 1-1. They have an average weight of 207 pounds, the heaviest in the NFL, and are tied with the tallest at 6'2" with the Las Vegas Knights, which means they're a bigger, heavier, taller club, so that they can impose their will on people. But my assessment of the situation is based upon my own size, since I'm 6'4" and 185 pounds. Not that that's a lot of pounds, but what I'm saying is that it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. And it's been my experience that those little guys, those guys under 6 feet, they're pretty tenacious and mean. And they always seem to have a problem with life, okay? They will start a fight in a heartbeat, and just the way they are. So I'm not too sure that the Bruins are going to get the intended result that they want.
A very interesting observation. I've never really talked about weight before between teams. I will say the Bruins, the first 2 games of the regular season, have let up 12 goals. 6, excuse me, not 12. 10, excuse me if I have my math.
Oh, you're only off by 2.
Only off by 2.
You're only off by 2.
6 against Florida on Tuesday evening, and 4 against Montreal on Thursday night, the home opener, which they did Montreal. Win. They did win that game 6-4, and they lost 6-4 to the Florida Panthers. But it's good to have Jeremy Swayman back finally. The contract dispute is over. He obviously wasn't ready to start opening night, given the close date to when they signed him to the regular season, but they did start on Thursday against Montreal. There's no doubt there's rust there. I mean, this is a guy that hasn't been with the team for most of the offseason because of a contract issue. But don't worry, he said he was practicing with college players, which, proved to me what we saw on Thursday night. But I'm not worried about Jeremy Swayman. I think he'll rebound just fine. The Bruins are going to be in it, as they always are, with some new faces as well that they brought in on the offseason. They play the LA Kings this afternoon at 1:00.
Yeah, they do.
And I think it's early, obviously, only 2 games in. But I think Jim Montgomery, who was entering year 3 here with the Bruins, has done a very nice job. There's been some tough times, particularly in the playoffs, but I think we'll be okay.
I got to ask you a question.
Sure.
To me, playing Jeremy Swayman the first game was mismanagement.
Well, they played him the second game.
Didn't they play him the first game?
No,
too?
he didn't start the first game.
He didn't start.
He did not.
Who's the
backup is Jonas Corposalo, who's been around for about 9 years, and he was acquired from the Ottawa Senators after the Linus Ullmark trade. After we traded Linus,
thank you very much,
Ottawa.
Boston Bruins. Somebody showed some acumen here by not just starting the guy because all of a sudden you paid him money. You expect him to go in there. And just win a game.
There was no way they could have signed him. He wasn't ready. But they started him 2 days later, which I still thought was when I heard he was starting on Thursday. I was surprised. I was surprised, but they'll take on the LA Kings today at 1:00 at the Garden, and the beat goes on.
We'll see what happens.
It's early, very early, but they'll be in it. They'll be in it. There's no doubt about it.
Okay.
If not, we'll come back and talk about it.
We're going to move on to Major League Baseball because we got some things to cover there. Now,
exciting times.
Yeah, exciting times for the Detroit Tigers and the Cleveland Guardians today because they're tied at 2-2. The final game is today at 1:00 in Cleveland.
Right.
Okay. Do you have a prediction on this, Kevin?
I do. I think the Tigers are going to win. Now, regardless of who wins this game, both teams are to be commended by the way they played this year. Cleveland has been obviously went to the World Series in 2016. Just a totally different team now. A lot of people didn't predict them to win the American League Central Division, but also have 90 wins as they did this year.
That's the weakest division in the American League all the time.
Yeah, it is. The Central is weak. I mean, look at how the White Sox did this year. But anyway, regardless of what happens, I think, particularly on Detroit, I mean, this is a team, we've talked about this here many times on the show, a team that was out of contention in mid-August and that just went on a winning streak and has now propelled themselves to be one win away from taking on the Yankees.
Anything is possible.
Exactly, in the American League Championship Series. They got their ace on the mound today, Tarek Skubal, who has dominated not just in the postseason, but throughout the regular season. I think it's going to be a close game, a good game this afternoon at 1 o'clock in Cleveland. But I think the Detroit Tigers are going to win and going to head to New York, to the Bronx, to take the Yankees. And I think that series, on paper, the Yankees are favored.
I'm taking the Yankees.
Oh, okay, we'll get we'll talk about that when we get there. But
I'm taking the Tigers to win too, so I'm already jumping ahead of the game.
David versus Goliath. But in the National League too, we had the Dodgers last night defeat the Padres in 5 games. They're heading back to the NLCS to take on a team that, again, just like the Tigers, nobody thought was going to advance out of the National League East this year.
The Mets.
And that's the New York Mets.
Number 6. They were the wild card team.
They were.
They were the last seed.
A team that was about 12 games, I believe, under 500 in the early part of the year. They've addressed some problems, and I know we talked about as well off air, but now some former Red Sox are helping the Mets as well.
J.D. Martinez.
That of old friends J.D. Martinez, who helped the Red Sox win a World Series, of course, in 2018. There's J.D. right there for the folks watching us online.
And Jose Iglesias, which me and Kevin had a little row about. I didn't want him to get traded back in 2013.
That's the most surprising to me.
And Kevin wanted him gone.
Jose, I mean, this is a guy that was pretty highly regarded in the Red Sox system.
Yes.
They traded him in July of 2013 in a 3-team trade to acquire Jake Peavy, who helped the Red Sox, of course, win a World
Series. Where we disagree. Yeah. I'm not going to agree with you.
Well, go back and watch the highlights from a couple of years ago, more than a couple of years ago.
Jake Peavy kind of.
And watch the video of Jose Iglesias making that critical error as a Tiger shortstop in Game 6 of the ALCS, which the Tigers were up 2-1 in that game, and we all know what happens after that with Shane Victorino.
Hits a grand slam.
So, thank you, Jose.
Jose, I'm still on your side. I just want you to know that.
But
I wish I had kept you.
But the Mets have good mix of veteran talent and young players as well. I mean, Jose Iglesias, a journeyman.
Yes.
J.D. Martinez, who scuffling really after the Red Sox, is a guy that really struggled.
He picked it up, though.
In the latter half of the year, and the Mets had a decision to make. Do we put him on the postseason roster? Do we not? They decided to go with his experience in the postseason and put him on, and he's helping them tremendously. And to beat the Phillies, I mean, the team that everyone expected to make the World Series and probably even win a World Series this year.
Let's see, were the Phillies the number 1 seed?
They were the number 2 seed. The Dodgers were the 1 seed. But
the Dodgers,
that was a great series, and congrats to the Mets. And we're that closer, Clay, to getting another Subway Series between the 2 New York teams.
Now, here's what I'm thinking. Here's what you glossed over. The New York Yankees, we both know, they're on their way to the American League Championship Series, be it the Tigers or the
Kansas City. They beat Kansas City.
They beat Kansas. Yeah, they're on their way to the against the Tigers or else the Guardians. One of the two. Now, the Yankees have 27 World Series wins.
Correct.
And 40 American League championships, which is what they used to call pennants back then. Mm-hmm. They're on the way to the finals, which is the pennant. And they're looking to add to that number. The St. Louis Cardinals are second with 11 World Series. And then you have the Red Sox, number 3, checking in at 9. Mm. But as we look at it, I mean, we got to give props to the Yankees because the Yankees had 3 times the amount of World Series wins that the Red Sox have, and they still aren't satisfied. They still put a team out there to compete and contend every year or try to.
Well, they haven't won. They have won
the Boston Red Sox.
They have won a World Series since 2009, so they are hungry. And I think Aaron Boone is hungry to keep his job, too, because if the Yankees did not do what they did this year, I think they'd be looking at a different manager. But, I mean, I think the Yankees did what they needed to do. I think they overpowered a young Kansas City Royals team, and we'll see. I just want to touch on the Dodgers, and I know we got to get to these picks. We got about 10 minutes. But I think MLB and the marketing team in particular breathed a collective sigh of relief when they realized that Shohei Ohtani would be advancing to the NLCS because a player of that magnitude, I don't think the MLB could go without marketing that to potentially go to a World Series.
It would have hurt.
Certainly would have hurt.
They definitely wanted Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts, and we have a Kiki.
Yeah, how about Kike last night?
Enrique Kiki Hernandez. I'm looking at the landscape is littered there. The Major League Baseball playoff landscape is littered with former Red Sox players. Let's not forget Alex Verdugo.
Verdugo on the Yankees.
Down there in the Yankees.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
If only we had these guys, those type of guys.
They helped us at one time.
We'd be winners.
They helped us at one time.
We could be contenders.
Oh,
Instead of the bums they are now.
But it's going to be an interesting championship series on both sides. I think you have the Dodgers and Mets and the Yankees against either the Cleveland Guardians or the Detroit Tigers. But I'm pulling for Detroit today.
Right. Here are the Red Sox right now.
Could have had class. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody. Instead of a bum, which is what I am. Let's face it.
Now the Red Sox are bums.
I don't think John Henry is saying that.
John Henry, listen.
Maybe for his soccer clubs.
He's not even in town. He's probably overseas.
He doesn't even know where Fenway Park is.
He hasn't been there unless he gets driven there. Let's move on. We have the NFL schedule, and we need to get to it. What are our picks coming into the week? I'm going to tell you, my first pick is going to be San Francisco. I think I can win with that one.
Well, they already won, so if you
well,
pick them to win, that's congratulations.
Thank you very much for reminding me. I did pick them to win, so I can move on. Next, we have Jacksonville going to Chicago at 9:30 a.m.
in London.
Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, London. And Chicago's favored by 1.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bears on this. The Bears had a big win last week against Carolina Panthers. Jacksonville finally on the win column. They beat up a hurt Indianapolis team last week. They're in trouble, though, the Jacksonville Jaguars. We saw one coach get fired on the way back from London. That was Robert Saleh last week. Jacksonville staying in London. They had the Patriots in London the following week. I'm going to take Chicago and Caleb Williams in this game in London.
All right. And the next game we have, who am I going to take?
Who are you going to take? Chicago,
I'm going to take Chicago.
All right.
I'm going to take Chicago. We're going to write that down because we're going to
we got to keep track of this. Some
keep
accountability here on the program.
Yeah, we're going to, there's going to be a root beer exchange for the winner. Arizona's traveling to Green Bay, Lambeau Field at 1:00. And guys, this actually, you can get tickets pretty cheap for this one, $80, because Lambeau Field's always sold out. Green Bay is favored by 5. I am taking Green Bay.
I take Green Bay. Had a nice win out in LA last week against the Rams. The Cardinals as well had a surprising win, beat up on the San Francisco 49ers. I'm going to take Green Bay and Jordan Love to continue closing ranks, trying to compete in a surprising NFC North division with the Vikings continuing
just rolling
to roll that division. But Green Bay and Chicago keeping close tabs. And Detroit as well. Don't forget about Detroit.
Detroit's right up there too. What do we got for the next game, D?
Indianapolis, Tennessee. Anthony Richardson is back after being hurt, and Joe Flacco couldn't get it done last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going to take Indianapolis against a lowly Tennessee Titans team coming off the bye.
I am going to take Tennessee.
You're going to take
and
the
I'm
home
going to
team.
take Tennessee because Joe Flacco's not in there. When Joe Flacco was in there, they put up 34 points. They only lost 38-34.
But they still lost to a winless Jaguars team.
It's not his fault. He doesn't play defense. What, you want him to throw the ball and play defense at the same time?
I'm just saying.
I mean, Joe, no, stay where you're at. Because if you come to New England, you're going to get hurt. So stay there. I'm going with Tennessee, and I got the next game, which is Houston.
Yeah,
traveling to New England.
We talked about this.
Houston's favored by 6.5 points. Sorry about that, Wayne. But Houston's favored by 6.5 points, and anything could happen, but I don't think it's going to happen tomorrow. I'm taking Houston.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Texans as well. They had a big win at home against Buffalo last week in a good game. I would say Houston takes it with ease and continuing a stronghold over the AFC South division.
What we got next?
We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling to the New Orleans Saints. I'm going to take Tampa in this one. New Orleans, Derek Carr is hurt. They've lost 3 in a row. I'm going to go Tampa, who needs to get back in the win column with Baker Mayfield.
Have you seen this guy, Spencer Rattler?
Not in a while, not since he was in college.
He looks a lot like this guy, Mahomes.
Well, that's an interesting comparison. Tampa's favored by 3.5. They lost last Thursday night against the Falcons. And
that was a barn burner.
I think the Saints are, after starting 2-0, down last 3 in a row. I'm going to go with Tampa. We got to keep moving here, Clay.
Yeah, I'm
ticking.
I'm going with New Orleans.
All right.
There we go. New Orleans.
Cleveland, Philadelphia. The Eagles coming off a bye. I'm going to take Philly. I wish we had more time to discuss the situation.
No, we don't. We don't need
in
more
Cleveland
time to discuss this one.
Because Deshaun Watson, the Browns, talk about teams are in trouble. Clay, just quickly, do you think Deshaun Watson's time is limited as a starting quarterback? And should Jameis Winston get a chance in Cleveland?
We'll just go from bad to worse with Watson to Winston. I mean to Jameis.
But you have to do something.
Fire the coach. Okay, I don't
think it's Stefanski's fault. I really don't.
I'm going with Philadelphia. Let's just go with that one. Let's just get that out the way.
Yeah.
Washington is traveling to Baltimore. This is going to be a game of running quarterbacks. I am going to take Baltimore at home.
This is going to be a tremendous 1:00 game. Jaden Daniels continues to surpass expectations, and the Washington Commanders right now are leading the NFC East. This is a close game. I'm going to take Baltimore at home, but I wouldn't be surprised if Jaden Daniels continues to surprise and defeats the Ravens on the road, but I'm going to take Baltimore.
We will see. Baltimore's favored by 6.5. We have the Los Angeles Chargers traveling to Denver to take on the Broncos at Empower Field at Mile High, and the Chargers are favored by 3. I'm going with the Chargers also.
I take the Chargers on the road. Herbert's coming back after injury and after a bye. Denver's played well, though. 3 wins in a row with Bo Nix. They're starting to figure things out, but I think the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh are going to beat Sean Payton and the Broncos in a close game.
Okay, what we got?
Pittsburgh and Vegas. Pittsburgh losing last week at home to Dallas on Sunday night.
Choking.
Vegas losing last week as well. I'm going to take Pittsburgh Steelers, and we'll see how long Justin Fields continues to be the starting quarterback. I think Russell Wilson is eager to come back, and we'll see how long Mike Tomlin keeps that going.
Listen, Russell Wilson should not be anywhere close. He shouldn't even be on the field. He should be sitting at home and watching television like the rest of us. I'm going to take Pittsburgh. This is the highest price ticket game, so they are selling out at Vegas.
And Gardner Minshew's out, by the way. They have replaced their quarterback. Aiden O'Connell is in for the Raiders, and Antonio Pierce trying to salvage that season out in L.A.
Season's
out in
gone.
Vegas, rather.
Season's gone. It's done. It's done. That's okay. I got the next one. Detroit is traveling to Dallas.
Good game.
To take on the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas is going to choke on this one. I am taking Detroit. The Detroit Lions. Lions.
I'm going to take Detroit as well. This race going down the line, Clay, in the NFC North is going to be fascinating to watch with 4 teams that are in it. But right now, only one team remains undefeated. That's the Vikings. But watch out for the Detroit Lions. I think they're going to take care of the Cowboys.
Oh, yeah, they're going to take care of it. And tickets, you can get it there for $39. Atlanta is traveling to Carolina. They take on the Carolina Panthers. Atlanta, $31 for tickets. I'm taking Atlanta. I'm taking Atlanta all the way.
Should be free to go. Atlanta in a no issue there.
Blowout. You got the next one.
Kirk Cousins. All right. Sunday Night Football. Pretty bad game, actually. The Bengals travel to the Meadowlands to take on the Giants. Joe Burrow said his team is not a championship team. I agree with him, but I'm going to take the Bengals. This is a must-win game. They should have won last week against Baltimore at home. They didn't. The Giants still figuring things out. They had a surprising win last week in Seattle, but I'm going to take Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals.
I'm going Cincinnati also. And last but not least, on Monday night, October 14th, we have Buffalo traveling to the New York Jets to take on the Jets. I am taking Buffalo.
I'm going to take Buffalo
to win.
Clay, with about 1:50 here, do you think the Jets made the right call in firing Robert Saleh? We talked a little bit about last
the wrong
week.
call.
Really?
Saleh couldn't do anything. Rodgers came in and just took over the team. He does whatever he wants to do when he wants to do it. If Saleh tries to tell him anything, he gets fired by the owner. And so it goes. The guy who's making the most money actually commands the most power.
The first time Woody Johnson, the owner of the Jets, has fired a coach mid-season. He's fired plenty of coaches, but has never done one in mid-season. I was surprised by it, but I really actually wasn't surprised by it the way I think there were rumors being out there that Rodgers and Saleh weren't getting along. And I think it's a long trip home from London after a loss like that against the Vikings last week. So not surprising, but we'll see. We'll see with the Jets. But I'm going to take Buffalo on Monday night.
I'm taking Buffalo. I mean, the Jets they're toast now.
Yeah. And I will give you the final minute, my friend. And we'll come back and look at these picks next week and see how we did.
Winner, chicken dinner. Ladies and gentlemen, glad to be here again. Glad to talk to you. Stay together. Remember, work together as Americans. Work out your differences. We are part of a nation, and we have to start working together as a nation. All of us, every last one of us. So let's get started. The line is not based upon race. It's God's side and the other side. So you Christians, start working out your differences. Get together and let's start doing things together. How about that? Okay, do some road races. I come to the inner city. I never see any road races here. I always have to go out to the outskirts to get road races. Why aren't there people in the city that are holding road races? You're capable. Put it together. Let's start working together, ladies and gentlemen.
Everybody get exposed. Pray for all my foes, but it's the narrow